Welcome, Marcus Farrell Live. I decided to go ahead and go live just because I wanted to tell you guys 100 Trump affirmations. I just found out recently, and I talked about it earlier, but I just found out recently that Donald J. Trump and the FBI, his weaponized FBI, Wednesday night of this week, went into the Fulton County Elections Office to investigate the so-called voter fraud. I just want to point out that he's doing this in the blackest place pretty much in America. Yeah, Trump is doing this in the blackest possible place in America. That means that he does not fundamentally believe that black people vote. Wednesday night, Trump sends his weaponized FBI to go into the Fulton County Elections Department to look around and look for evidence of voter fraud, because he fundamentally doesn't believe that black people vote. It's so racist. If you support the Trump administration right now, you're a racist. Yep, I don't care. I don't care. You can come and find me. You can come and see me in real life, man. If you support the Trump administration right now, you are racist. And I don't want to hear no, for the white folks, y'all are racist. For the black folks that like them, I don't want to hear no hotel bull crap that y'all be pulling. Oh, well, what the Democrats done did for you. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of the Democratic Party. I am a Democrat, but I'm not a real huge fan of the Democratic Party because they tend to go corporate, and I'm not a fan of what's going on with Israel and how everybody seems to support like oppression in the Middle East. But miss me with that equal comparison of the Democrats and the Republicans. We're not doing that no more. I'm sorry, fam. We're not doing that. Good morning, Kasul. We're not doing that. Now, don't get me wrong. If you watch Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap and you watch some of my content, I can be hypercritical of Democratic administrations. I can be, and we should be. I mean, I just found out recently from a friend that she works for one of the Democratic organizations, and she has a office of 60 people, and she's the only black person that works in there. That math does math. So Democrats got their own issues, but Democrats are not being fascist, and Democrats are not being racist. Can we just break this down plainly? When you have a department in America, just any department that we pay taxes for that operates in America, you have any department in America, and their job is to stop people who talk in broken English, have a certain skin tone, it's racist. It's that simple. And a majority of white voters voted for the guy to implement this. Let's call it for what it is. You're not rocking with Marcus Farrell Live. If you like anything I say, please hit that like button. Hit that like button. Donald Trump is running the country like a revenge podcast. He confuses elections with auditions. He thinks the Constitution is a suggestion box. He governs through grudges and not plans. He calls dissent treason because debate scares him. His foreign policy is powered by ego and flattery. He treats institutions like enemies instead of safeguards. He believes loyalty is more important than competence. He governs backwards, undoing process out of spite. He thinks strength that means never admitting error, and that's one of the biggest narcissistic things about Trump, or any narcissist, is they don't believe that they ever do wrong. He mistakes fear for respect on the world stage. He turned the presidency into a grievance funnel. He thinks the courts exist to protect him, not the law. He confuses nationalism with narcissism. He turns policy into punishment. He believes election only counts if he wins. He treats the DOJ like a personal law firm. He thinks law and order means immunity for allies. He governs for applause and not outcomes. He mistakes cruelty for leadership. He sees America as a brand, not a people. This toxic MFer governs in all caps because nuance terrifies him. History will list him as a stress test and not a success. You got kids. If you got children, do you have children? If you're watching me, do you have children? If you have children, understand that Trump wants an America that never acknowledges slavery, makes it so I guess they're supposed to be indentured servants. Your kids, in the Trump's mind, in Trump's world, right? Your kids, thanks, Max, in Trump's world, your kids are supposed to be ignorant of the nuances of what made America what America is. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a true believer in that. And Donald J. Trump does not respect the experience of anyone who's not white and conservative. And it's really what makes the country great. Am I a fan of slavery and enslavement? No, but you got to understand that enslavement actually created some of the most wonderful moments of America because of oppression. Black folks learned how to overcome and did some amazing things with it. Trump wants your kids to think Martin Luther King was a boy band in the 1800s. He doesn't even want you to say the word Malcolm X. You know, and I think about our leaders, man. I do. I think about our leaders. And when I think about our leaders, I think about like the people who were killed by the state or killed by assassins for racism. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, and what they would say about this Trump administration. What they would really say about Donald Trump. Trump is not a real grown man. He's a rich, entitled BAMF. That's the best way I can say it because I'm trying to keep my content clean. But he's a switch trash Uncle Trucker. That's how I feel about this guy. He has whole tendencies, man. And I mean that in a gender neutral way. If there could be a worse way to describe him without using curse words, that's what I'm trying to do today, because I do not like this guy. So this is about F Trump, F the administration, F his family, F his future, F his past, F what he's done. And I don't care if you don't like me. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to get into it right now. Oh, let's talk about his minions. Stephen Miller. Now, personally, Stephen Miller is the son of Satan. He's demon spunk incarnated. And the crazy part about it, I don't know, man. Black people can't fail up. Sorry, we don't fail up. My culture, our people don't fail up, right? But Trump enables the worst people to have a big platform. By the way, the Senate voted to condemn him, his own party. He's so messy that he can't even keep his party together as a president. Say what you want about Obama. Say what you want about Biden. Say what you want about Clinton. Hell, say what you want about George Bush Jr. Damn, Trump makes me miss George Bush Jr. And he sent us into a whole ass war. So the reason why I'm going live today, right? If you like me, you're rocking with Marcus Farrell Live, clickbaity political thirst trap. I want to also give you some breaking news that Ben Dixon shared with me. Breaking news. Clip this breaking news. Georgia Fort, the one of the anchors for Ben Dixon's channel, a colleague of our work, has been detained by ICE for filming a church in Minnesota, Georgia Fort. If you go over to the Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap channel, and you go over to Ben Dixon's channel, she's the light-skinned lady that does an amazing work. She's an amazingly professional, awesome contributor to that channel, and in general, she does good work. And she has been detained from ICE. So that means that automatically they are detaining people that don't have nothing to do with immigration. That lady's more American than anybody. But think about ICE for a second. ICE is trash. ICE is January 6ers. ICE is untrained. I'm a veteran. One of the longest periods of my life as a veteran was going through boot camp in my A school. Boot camp was, I think it was 8 weeks. It was a long time. I don't even remember. But then the A school was like a month and a half, and I became a hospital corpsman. My job was I was a field medic. My job was to bandage people up in war, right? But I worked in a hospital. I drove an ambulance. I was an EMT. I was, I can give you an IV to this day, right? Like, you're not a doctor, but when you're with the Marines out there in the field, you are the primary medical person. And that took training. It took time. ICE is messy. There's not a month of training for ICE. It's like these guys just, come off the street with their racist viewpoints, and I guarantee you something. They get $60,000 for being terrorists. What kind of lowbrow, low IQ, homophobic, racist, trash ass person joins ICE now? Like who are you? Well, I'll tell you who these people are. They have tiny phalluses. That's right. Tiny. Very, very tiny phalluses. You can tell them I said it. They wear masks. These cats are cowards, man. And it would, you know what? There is something in me that wants to point out, if they were only going after others, maybe I'd be a little different about it, but they're not going after others. They're going after everybody. The problem is, the mistake that they made was they started messing with white people. Let's talk about Stephen Miller, one of Trump's minions. He has an immigration policy that's built on resentment and not reality. He treats cruelty as a deterrence. He thinks suffering is a feature, not a bug. He reduces human beings to talking points. He uses security to disguise bigotry. He's an architect in fear and not solutions. Stephen Miller confuses whiteness with citizenship. Stephen Miller builds policy from the internet comment sections. Stephen Miller governs by exclusion. Stephen Miller will be remembered as the paperwork face of cruelty. Let's talk about an attorney general. Law enforcement has been turned into a political weapon. Justice interpreted through loyalty tests. They have prosecutorial discretion replaced by vendettas. The rule of law is bent to protect power, selective outrage, and selective enforcement. They treat accountability like a partisan attack. They confuse independence with disloyalty. They weaponize investigations downward, but shields upward. Justice delayed by design. And history won't call this justice. They will call it just protection. Let's talk about Pete Hegseth. Major example of how people fail up. Pete Hegseth has no business being in charge of our military. Militarianism without strategy. He confuses dominance with diplomacy. He alienates allies for ego boost. He treats global security like a bargaining chip. He uses threats where cooperation would work better. He turns soldiers into props. He confuses escalation with strength. National security filtered through cable news. He governs foreign policy by vibes and vendettas. He makes America louder, but not safer. I'm gonna get into it. Let's talk about the Treasury. I'm going through this man's whole trickle-down cosplay returns. They govern for donors and lecture workers. Deficits don't matter until poor people need help. Tax cuts are now framed as patriotism. Austerity for the public, abundance for corporations. Inflation blamed on everybody but policy. Wealth hoarding treated as economic health. Workers get speeches, billionaires get carve-outs. They use markets to avoid responsibility. The economy is managed like a casino, and the house always wins. We're gonna jump over to education real quick. Education is treated like an ideological battlefield. Teachers are framed as enemies. History is edited for comfort. Parents' rights are used to erase facts. Knowledge is seen as a threat. Schools turn into culture war arenas. Underfunding is masked as reform. Our kids are reduced to pawns. The truth is treated like propaganda. And anti-intellectualism is now dressed up as patriotism. Our education programs should be funded at the same way that other countries fund their education programs, but we are not. And our kids are suffering. I gotta talk to white people. White people, it's all fun and games until they start messing with you, right? Because black folks, we didn't have nothing to do with this. But I guess some of y'all must have thought that only black people went to get public education. Now your kid thinks Harriet Tubman is winning a Grammy this year, nominated for a Grammy for Best Artist. Oh, Kennedy. The worst Kennedy out of all of them. How a Kennedy would work for this administration is so sad. Robert Kennedy. He treats public health is sacrificed for political optics. Science is treated like it's an option. Disability and poverty are framed as moral failures. Healthcare is a privilege and not a right. Regulations are rolled back, consequences are ignored. Data ignored when inconvenient. Communities are blamed for systemic neglect. Societal safety nets are treated like charity. Prevention is defunded, but crisis is exploited. They govern off of sickness instead of health. Oh, this is a good dig right here. Let's talk about how they talk to the media. Let's talk about how they communicate. Like I've been working in politics for years, and communications is probably just as important as just knocking on doors and getting people to vote. Communications. They don't like talking to us, and they damn sure don't like telling us the truth. They govern through outrage cycles. Misinformation is treated like messaging. The truth is evaluated by loyalty. The press is framed as an enemy to avoid scrutiny. Distraction replaces governance. And there's been a lot of distraction, folks. There's been so much distraction from this administration, from what's really going on. They are the master and chiefs of distraction. I believe Charlie Kirk was a distraction. I honestly believe most of what's going on from the Trump administration right now is to keep your eyes off of the Epstein files. Trump, you dirty little boy. You dirty little boy. Hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein on that plane, messing around with kids, you dirty little man. And you don't want anybody to find out the truth about what happened. Trump is willing to throw this economy and this country in the trash as long as his name is not brought out in the proper way in the Epstein files. And y'all know what's up. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know what's going on. The more somebody tries to distract you from something, the more dirt that they did. I'm going to repeat that. If they are trying to make you say, hey, I don't believe your lying ass eyes, then the more dirt that they did. Point blank, period. They treat volume and mistake it for credibility. They're loud, but they're not credible. They confuse narrative control with leadership. But eventually, reality always cuts through. This administration doesn't govern forward. It governs backwards, inwards, and downwards. They're not about solutions. They're about settling scores. They're not about strength. They're about dominance. They're not about America. They're about who gets protected and who gets punished. And history doesn't care about your base. It only cares about the outcomes. I am not a fan of Donald Trump. Trump talks money, but he dresses like debt. Trump's built like a thumb that learned racism. He got a hairline that's running from accountability. His spray tan looks like he lost a battle with Cheetos. He lies so much, even the mirror fact checks his fat ass. He has the confidence of a man who never read instructions. Bankruptcy got his name on speed dial. He walks like his shoes owe him money. Big old ego, tiny vocabulary. He talks tough, but he dodged the draft. He's a draft dodger. He's a classic cosplay patriot. He built a wall but couldn't block subpoenas. Orange Julius Caesar with no empire. Yelp review president, 1-star, blames immigrants. Thinks law and order means for y'all, not for me. Looks like privilege, fermented. Twitter fingers, probation spirit. Says tremendous when he means I Googled nothing. He's racism with a trust fund. His leadership style is like tantrum with a microphone. He has the confidence of a man that never faced consequences. See, that's we gotta check the people that we vote for, family. That's what I'm saying. We gotta check the people that we vote for. Because if we don't check them, if we don't hold them accountable, if they don't have the same experiences, Trump is a weirdo. JD Vance is a weirdo. These people are weirdos. These people are straight up weirdos. We got weirdos running the country that had a whole bunch of money flying around with Jeffrey Epstein, bruh. The leader of our country literally said that he likes hanging out with young girls on a private jet. These are the folks that are running our country right now. These are the people that are running our country. We got to just call it for what it is. These people are weirdo pedophiles, and they are running the country. They got their hands on the nuclear codes, y'all. They have nukes. They have access to nukes. Donald Trump has access to the nuclear weapon. If that don't scare you, I don't know what else could. I'm not even talking about ICE. I'm talking about this tiny ego, narcissistic, orange Cheeto, Brad breath, tiny phallus man boy that's in the White House right now has access to nuclear weapons. Let me tell you something, family. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that crap. I don't want to hear no capping. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear no more, oh, yeah, but the Democrats. I don't care about that no more. Y'all know me. I used to be like that. I don't care about that no more. I don't want to hear nothing about none of that. Get your ass out there and vote for somebody else. Point blank, period. Show up in the primary. Show up in the general election. We ain't hotepping. I'm slapping hoteps in the, not all of them. Because there's some truth to what these people be saying about doing something for us. But ain't got no time for that. We got to get every single person who ever supported Trump out of office. We got to put some of these people in jail, cuz. Please believe me. History will footnote him as the warning. He thinks loud is wrong, and loud is wrong, and it's still wrong. He has a swagger of a man that confuses noise with power. He thinks diversity is a threat, not a strength. He built an empire on unpaid invoices. He calls himself stable, emotionally Wi-Fi unstable. Orange is not a personality. He lies so casually, it's muscle memory. He talks about loyalty like a mob boss with hairspray. This is America's most expensive midlife crisis. He thinks criticism is treason. He mistakes cruelty for strength. History class skipped him also. He inherited everything and earned nothing. He talks big, but it reads small. Patriotism for sale, cash only. He says witch hunt every single time the truth gets pulled up. He plays the victim like it's an Olympic sport. He's democracy's worst roommate. He's built like a scandal generator. He confuses applause with respect. Has this orange dude embarrassed you yet? Y'all do know that other people are looking at us, right? Yeah, y'all do know other countries, like they're watching this. They're like, yo, y'all did that. I wish we could have like a little chat room, like the thread, the friends thread with the black people from other places, and be like, we didn't do this. We tried. We told them we didn't do this. Donald Trump makes Richard Nixon look suitable. He says fake news when facts hurts his feelings. His ego is louder than his policies. He mistakes attention for admiration. He's a warning label in human form. He talks tough until lawyers show up. He wants loyalty, not truth. He's presidential cosplay with bankrupt morals. He treats the laws like they are suggestions. He thinks empathy is a weakness. He built his brand on grievance. He looks like capitalism with no ethics. He says America first, but he means me always. History is going to roast him harder than I am. He confuses dominance with leadership. He can't spell humility. Wouldn't use it anyway. He built a cult and not a coalition. He thinks shouting is a strategy. His ego is so fragile it needs security. There's a reason why orange is the color of warning signs. He turns every room into a liability. He thinks chaos equals control. He talks about strength, but dodges accountability. He's a presidential tantrum generator. He lies like his cardio. Legacy is sponsored by lawsuits. He thinks consequences are optional. He's a walking conflict of interest. He's a walking liability. He says, believe me, like that helps. He makes incompetence loud again. Democracy survived him. Barely. We're barely surviving him. He talks like a man arguing with reality. He wants power, but he hates responsibility. He confuses fear with respect. He's built like a headline, not like a leader. He turns institutions into punchlines. His ego is louder than evidence. He thinks insults are policy. He treats facts like fake IDs. Orange Julius with a Twitter account. Scandal wearing a suit. He called himself chosen by himself. He makes history professors look tired. Democracy's stress test. He talks about greatness and delivers a hot mess. Before picture of accountability. He's the before picture of accountability. He's proof that money can't buy character. This has been Marcus Farrell Live. I don't like Trump. Peace. Thank you.